Welcome to this Greg's Bass Shed lesson where I'm going to show you the bass line from Santana's Black Magic Woman. Now the original version's by early Fleetwood Mac with Peter Green. That's a fantastic version. I really love that period of Fleetwood Mac. But this Santana version of Black Magic Woman's really great too. It's got sort of kind of Latin stuff in there, Afro-Cuban stuff, jazz, blues, rock. So it's a really kind of more of a kind of blues rock version, and it's got a great jam section at the end. Now there are a few Santana versions of this, so look for the one that's 5 19 long, so it's the kind of extended version. Now when I was checking this out, I stumbled across Soul Sacrifice at Woodstock, and if you haven't seen that then definitely check that out. It's fantastic. It's a real massive 10-minute jam, and that kind of, I haven't listened to Santana for years and I really used to love it and played a lot of it. So yeah, check that out if you're not familiar with Santana. I've made another video of me playing through the whole version of the song, minus bass. So if you aren't familiar with this version of the song, you want to check it out, then click here and then you come back to this lesson. The chord progression to Black Magic Woman is 12 bars long. It uses chord 1, chord 4 and chord 5, so similar to a 12-bar progression, but the chords are in slightly different order. We're in the key of D minor, so our root notes for the three chords are D, G and A. So we're basically playing the riff off those three root notes. All the chords are minor 7 chords. When we start playing the riff I'll explain why that makes a difference. But basically as long as you know where the root notes are, so these are the main root notes we're going to be using. So we've got D on the 5th fret of the A string, G on the 3rd fret of the E string and A on the 5th fret of the E string as well. And sometimes we start with the G on the 5th fret of the D string. So the chord progression is 2 bars of D minor 7, 2 bars of A minor 7, 2 bars of D minor 7, 2 bars of G minor 7, a bar of D minor 7, a bar of A minor 7 and 2 bars of D minor 7. So really for this one you just got to kind of remember where it goes to the A and where it goes to the G. Okay, and this is the progression of the main verse. So we've got a slight different progression at the beginning in the intro. I've put this chord progression and the whole transcription of the bass line on a PDF. You can get that for free. Click the link below in the description. That's got standard notation and tab in it. So that's really useful if you pick that up now for working through this video lesson. The start of the intro is based around a D minor chord, so based around this D root here. Okay, and we're just using A's, a kind of pick up A to the D. Okay, and then we're also doing a slide down from this A here on the 12th fret of the A string. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so practice that a few times. I glance down quickly when I kind of to get up to this high A here. Okay, you're moving around quite a lot on the fretboard, so you might have to look as well. So just practice that slide. Okay, so I just do it with 2 fingers. I start with my 2nd finger and I kind of stop around the 7th fret and then use my 1st finger, but you can slide down on your 1st finger if you want, if you find that easier. Just experiment with those 2 fingering ideas and see which kind of one works for you. So the intro, we've got 2 bars of guitar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then we've got this pattern 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 3, 4. Kind of repeats like that. Okay, and then we've got this kind of guitar tune here. So we start on D, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we go down to G, and as is bar 14, and we've got a slightly different riff to the main riff. We've just got root, 5th, octave, okay, in this pattern. Okay, so you just use G 3rd fret, D at 5th fret, G, 5th fret of the D string. And then we've got this nice little hammer on. Okay. Now I prep here for the D, change to my first finger. Okay, so we've got G, A. Okay, and you hammer on the A. Don't pluck it. Okay. In context, those two bars, this bar from bar 14. Okay, sounds really nice, that little hammer on. And then when we get the D minor 7, we've got the same rhythmic pattern, but just D, A, D, D, A, D, A, D, D, okay? Back to G. Okay, so from bar 14, I'll just play that. So we've got 2 bars of G minor 7, 2 bars of D minor 7, 2 bars of G minor 7, 2 bars of D minor 7, okay? 3, 4. Okay, we've got a stop, and if you look on the PDF you'll see there's a dot above that note, and this is in bar 21 at the end of those 8 bars, and that's staccato, that just means short. Boom. Okay, everyone kind of stops there. So that chord progression is slightly different there. We kind of just, it's different to the verse, but now, bar 22, we get into the guitar playing the tune basically, and this is where we get into the proper kind of chord progression for the verse, and then we get into the proper riff, which is this. So we learn the riff on D. So what we've got here, so it's a D minor 7, we've got root, 5th, flat 7, octave. Okay, so that's a D minor 7's always got a flat 7 there. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7th note. Now there are kind of 3 possible fingering combinations. Now this is a fairly simple riff, but when you get down to dropping down to the A, you've got to make sure you land on that really in time, and that's the challenge with this bass line. So I just use 1 and 4. Does mean that you have to jump from this 7th to the next root note. Okay, another possible fingering pattern is 1 and 3. You're still jumping down here, and another one using 1, 4, 3, 4, 3, and then you can kind of creep your finger round to the root note. You might find that easier. I don't actually. A lot of moving around, so I use 1 and 4. So just try that riff with me a bit slower. 3, 4. Okay, all we do for the verse is just move that riff to start on D, A, and then G. Okay, so you've got your 3 root notes and you've got the riff, and you just move that around, just move that pattern around. Okay, so I'll just play a verse. So this is where the guitar solo is kind of playing the tune, bar 22. Okay, and play that through with me if you want. So we're going to do it on D twice, A twice, D twice, G twice, D once, A once, D twice. Okay, so 3, 4. Okay, and there's an extra bar of D there. Okay, now there's some slightly different notes, but I'll show you that in a minute. You could just play that basic riff. Okay. If you're enjoying this video, then don't forget to subscribe to my Greg Spaceshed channel. You can do that by clicking the red subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. And if you click the bell, then you'll get notified of all my new lessons as they come out. And it really helps me if you like this video and share it. Then after this guitar tune, we've got 8 bars of organ, and it's just on the D riff. So 8 times round. Just stays on D. And then the 8th time, just a stop, a staccato stop, a short stop again. Boom. Now you'll be pleased to know that the verses and the guitar solos after this follow exactly the same form as the verse. Okay, we've just got this riff round and round. So you could play this riff and then for the bulk of the song until we get to the extended ending, and it will all work. But there's some slight little changes. So at the end of the guitar tune, so this is bar 30, 31, 32, 33, instead of going on the D, okay, we've got, okay, that's a kind of minor pentatonic idea. So we've got D, A, C, C, G, F, D. Okay, so that kind of ends the phrase there a bit. And if we look at in bar 40 of verse 1, we've got this. Okay, it drops down to the G, the high G there. So I'll play verse 1, we've got the normal riff, then A, and then D, and then this bar here, and we've got another hammer on. So from bar 39, the D minor 7, and then A flat, these are kind of approach notes, and then G here on the 5th fret of the D string. Okay, what that is C, D, C, hammer on, C, hammer on to D, and then F. Bar afterwards is just a normal riff on G. Okay, so that bar, that first bar of G minor 7 there in verse 1. Okay. They're really effective, these hammer-ons. Just changing the riff slightly kind of and just makes it a bit more interesting. Okay. The rest of verse 1 is the same. If we look in verse 2, start with the D minor 7 down to A, and then changes here. Okay, that's the same patterns we had in verse 1, but this time it's on A. Dropping down to D. And then D minor 7. Okay, there's a kind of syncopated thing, which means that we're playing off the beat. So this is from bar 51, the D minor 7. We've got another kind of hammer on, the same ones as before. And then it's the same at the end of that verse. So if you look through the PDF, you'll see these slight changes. But as I said, if you just want to play the basic riff, then it still works really well. So these are just kind of some more, slightly more interesting sort of bars that you can put in. After verse 2, we've got a guitar solo for 2 times around the chorus. Same riff, and then we've got verse 3, and then we've got this extended ending. First of all, it's the same as the intro on the D and the A, and with the slide. So you've got that repeated a few times, and then we've got a really nice sort of minor D minor run. So on the high D, okay, you can play the C here if you want. So I use my 3rd finger, so 3 1 3 1 4 3 1. So wherever you want to play that C. And then we have this really interesting thing. It kind of goes into sort of a 3 feel here, a bit slower. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's been to be do 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's a really interesting little bit. But when you listen to the recording, it kind of makes sense. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's a really interesting kind of rhythm here. We're getting into the real Latin vibe here, and then we've got this kind of really cool Latin riff. Okay, so what I do is little finger on D, and make sure you play that A short. So we're doing D, A, C, D, A, E. You kind of have to jump to that E, 2nd fret of the D string. It's actually a bit tricky to keep that riff going. We've got, how many times did I write down? 38 times. You don't have to count it, I'll just show you in a minute what your cue to come out of that is. But you have to really get into that groove. Now at the end of those times you hear these power chords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So it's kind of 3 power chords, and we've got, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So we've got that 3 times. So it's just C, B, A, D. Okay, and then we push the D. We play it just before the beat. So make sure you start counting after you've hit it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then back into the riff. Eight times with the guitar, and then back into this thing again, and just ends on the A. Okay, and that's a really cool extended ending, and I really like that. As I said, the riff can be a bit tricky up to speed. You might find a better way to play it. That's how I kind of sort of gravitate towards that, and just jumping up to that E. It's a bit of a sort of finger twister, this riff. And especially just playing that 1A short makes it a bit more tricky, but that kind of articulation sounds really good. The form of this whole version is we've got intro first, we've got those kind of D root things with the A slides, and then it goes into a little guitar solo that starts on the G minor 7, and then we've got the guitar tune. That's over the verse chord progression. That's where we start playing the main riff. And then we've got 8 bars of D riff for the organ. And then we go into verse 1, verse 2, guitar solo, twice round the form, verse 3, and then we've got the extended ending, which is a real jam. It's fantastic, that bit. It's kind of almost kind of like a third of the song there. Now I've whizzed through this really quickly. As I said, there's a version of me playing through the whole tune, the whole bass line. I've isolated the rest of the track and taken the bass out, so you can hear me playing that. The link for that is below in the description, and also if you just look on my channel you'll find that as well. So that's really kind of useful for hearing me playing through. So make sure that you pick up the free PDF and look through this whole bass line, and then you can kind of play through with the original track. And when you're picking up the PDF, then check out my whole description. We've got loads of links down there. And you can also check my website out, gbshed.com. I've got bass courses, bass books, I've got t-shirts like this t-shirt, loads of other merch. I've got kind of free lesson pages where you can learn different tunes and learn about different aspects of bass playing. So check out my website, there's loads of stuff on there. You can also purchase a PDF booklet that has all the PDFs from videos 1 to 150 of my YouTube videos. So you can pick those up for free, but that's really time consuming, and you've got them all in one place for this booklet. So again, I've put the link below in the description, or just head to my shop on gbshed.com. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to like this video. This is Greg from Greg's Space Shed. Hopefully see you very soon in the next video.